I wanted to do this video just because there have been a couple of complaints about the X-E3 touchscreen, and I wanted to just give people an idea of where the problems are and why the problems are occurring, which I see as largely people not reading the manual. I know it was probably one of these where I initially thought the swiping didn't work correctly, but as I've gone through and understood how it works, there seems to be some method to the madness. So it seems like Fuji's actually implemented a system where they use flicks rather than swipes to prevent accidental activation of the menu. So it's much more unlikely that somebody would accidentally flick the menu than swipe the menu. So the typical complaints to date is that if you just swipe, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. So you can see it doesn't seem to work there, and people seem to believe that it's not that intuitive. What I've discovered is if you actually use flicks, and if you read the manual, it indicates quite clearly that you have to flick. So we flick, we get it, we flick, we get it, flick, we get it, flick, we get it. Everything's working quite consistently. So where you do a slow swipe like you would on a phone, it may or may not work, and you can see there it's worked. There it hasn't worked, so quick flick works a lot better, and I assume it's because while you're holding a camera like this, it's quite easy just to flick it. If you want to flick it, it's quite easy. So it's definitely probably not as bad as people think. It's I would say probably not perfect, and obviously version 1 of a touchscreen or the initial firmware sometimes have little bugs, so it's probably not as perfect as it can be, but it's definitely not a big issue like people have made it out to be, because you can see, I would say 80 to 90% of the time it's actually activating when it should.